Hey, what's going on, guys? This is Liam, and I just have a quick amount of time before I have to jump on my next client call of the day. I'm just going through client calls at the moment, as I do usually. I'm just making a quick video to point out, as I'm about to do this client call, this is a client I've spoken to a couple of times, but it's remarkable to me how every single client call, goes for an hour, and I say, hi, nice to meet you, where are you from, what do you do, that's cool, I've been there, I've never been there, I want to go there, blah, 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 whatever. Get to know you sort of thing. It's always quite nice. And then I go, okay, so here's what we're going to do. You're going to tell me your story for 40 minutes. I'm going to take notes. I'm going to write down your story. I'm going to write down the things that are causing your tinnitus. I'm going to form you a custom plan. Then after the call, I'm going to send you the recording. I'm going to send you the custom plan. And you can email me, and I'll try and get back to you as quickly as possible with all my clients, and then we'll go from there, right? So anyway, every single time in the beginning of the call, the beforehand story is always practically exactly the same, as so much as it pertains to the medical experience. So what do I mean by that? So the person might be a mother or a father or a young guy who's 17 or maybe 70 years old. They might be from, the Americas, or, might be from Australia. They might be from, New Zealand or a country in Africa. I get people from everywhere, all over the world, right? And they get tinnitus from, a ear infection or a loud noise or a medication or a stressful event or a neck adjustment, or, the list goes on and on. So I've got a bit of a sinus infection at the moment too. Whatever it was, right? It's mostly irrelevant. Depending on what caused their tinnitus, I might sort of change their custom plan, like swap this around, reverse this, do this instead, skip that, do more of this, less of this, sure. But the steps are all essentially the same. I just might change the order of them, right? Which is usually what I do for when I customize something, which is why doing a call with me is pretty important. Anyway, so when it gets to the stage of their story, the first 10 minutes is how it started. Then they go online. And I'm laughing, but it's horrific. And they go online and they invariably find like tinnitustalk.com, or they find like, the Mayo Clinic, or some, maybe something in their local language if they speak like, Arabic or German or Hindi or whatever it is they speak. And they find like a forum that's only in their language. But most people tend to speak their original language and English, which is generally how the world works. Anyway, and that's an awful experience, right? And then they go to their ENT. They go to their ENT and they sit down. Maybe they wait 3 months. The healthcare system in the West is a joke. Like here in Thailand, where I live, I can see any doctor I want. And I can go to a private hospital. I can walk in, I can see basically anyone I want. Maybe I might find it hard to see a neurologist, but if I wanted to see like, an otolaryngologist, which is an ENT, or, an ophthalmologist, which is for your eyes, or you wanted to see an endocrinologist for your hormones, or you wanted to see, the list goes on. You can see them in like 15 minutes, and you can get a medication. You're in and out in under an hour, and it's going to cost you $50. It's so cheap, it's insane. But in the West, you wait 3 months, especially in the UK, it's a freaking joke. And you pay hundreds of dollars, and you walk in there and you just get the sense that the ENT doesn't give a damn. And the ENT doesn't give a damn, because you're probably the 20th person they've seen today. They're tired, maybe they're a bit beaten down because they feel like they can't, they're a bit distraught because they can't really help their clients, especially ones with tinnitus. You go in and you get an audiogram, and the audiogram is, 5 minutes, usually less. So if you put the headphones on, you're in a soundproof booth, right? And you can hear their voice like, okay, Liam, now you're going to sit there and you have your buttons, and when you hear anything in any ear, you click the corresponding button. And they go through different pitches and different sounds and different volumes, and you're supposed to click the button that corresponds to the ear. And usually what's going to happen is you're going to fail the audiogram and show that you have hearing loss in your ears, but it's really not hearing loss at all. It's just that you can't hear the beeping sounds in whatever ear it was in, because your own tinnitus is so loud that you actually can't just hear the sounds because they're too low. Either they're too low or they match up with the sound of your tinnitus. You walk outside, they show you the audiogram, and they say you've got high frequency hearing loss, so you've got a problem here. And you go, and I believed it when I had my audiograms years ago when I was 21. I'm 31 now. And I believed it, because you do, because you're scared and you're put in a state of fear. And when you're in a state of fear, you're suggestible, which is exactly what, like when you turn on the news, they scare you and then they suggest the things that you should do, which is going to benefit the people who pay for the advertising. It's a whole thing. But they scare you and then they go, oh, we can, you have to learn to habituate. Maybe I can sell you some TRT. And I don't mean testosterone replacement therapy. I mean tinnitus retraining therapy. Then they try and sell you an earpiece or TRT, depending on your budget. I've told the story many times, but I was with a client in Los Angeles when I was filming a documentary about tinnitus. You can watch that on this very YouTube channel if you just go to my homepage. And I went in there and she got the order. She just wanted me to come with her. She's a really nice lady. I really like her, actually. Went in there. She was really scared. She had the audiogram, and she failed it. Oh, you have hearing loss. She didn't. Which is her tinnitus. And then the ENT immediately, by the way, the ENT had tinnitus. The ENT had tinnitus. Why is anyone... What the fuck? Why is anybody going to see someone who claims... If you can't even bloody fix it yourself, mate, why are you charging... And he was like the best tinnitus and hyperacusis expert in, I think it was California, the state, or maybe it was Los Angeles. I think it was California, which is outrageous. Anyway, so he's trying to sell her this like earpiece crap for like $6,000 US, which is probably more now because that was like 5 years ago. And so she interjects and goes, oh, by the way, this is Liam. Because I'm sitting right there. This is Liam. He's a friend of mine. He fixed his tinnitus with fasting and lifestyle. And he looks at me and goes, oh. So anyway, we have payment plans available. He just keeps on trying to sell her. Didn't want to listen to her, didn't want to answer her questions, didn't give a shit about lifestyle, nothing like that, and just goes on and tries to sell her. And so for you watching this video right now, you've probably gone to an ENT, or you've probably heard stories about people who've gone to an ENT, like this one right now, or you're probably thinking about going to an ENT. Now, I'm not saying to cancel it or to not go. By all means, go and see the ENT. Get them to look in your ear with an otoscope. A pressure test is a very effective thing to do. An otoacoustic emissions test, I wouldn't even bother, but it's up to you what you do. They might suggest you get like an X-ray or an MRI or something like that. That's fine. You're probably better off, go for it. About getting an MRI on your brain. But remember, I've never had a client ever get an MRI on their brain and never have any sort of lesion or tumor or anything ever, not once. It does happen, but in all my thousands of clients, not once. So something to think about, but it's up to you. You're better off getting an ultrasound on your sinuses, okay? Here and here. That's a much more effective way to spend money and thing to do, which matters a lot. And you're much better off getting a 3D cone beam X-ray on your mouth to check for a jaw or a dental infection, especially if you've had your wisdom tooth removed recently, or you have a history of infection, or you have impacted teeth, or you have an overbite like I do, or you have like you've had a root canal put in. If some people have like 5 root canals from 40 years ago, I mean, that's horrific. That's just dead tissue rotting in your mouth. Like, what do you think that's going to do? So what I'm saying is, again, I'm not saying don't use these medical options, especially if you have money, you're doing well, or especially if you have health insurance, and go for it. It's your decision. But don't let them scare you. That's my point. Don't let these ENTs scare you and freak you out and make you panic and make you... That's not going to help anyone. It's not going to help you. It's only going to help the ENT. And some ENTs are very nice, but I would argue that a lot of them are actually pretty bad people. Like, they're actually... I have so many stories. I'll tell you one story, and then I have to go right now. I have this lady... You're not going to believe this shit. You ready? Holy fuck. I had this lady. And she was in Texas, which kind of is going to make sense. She's from Texas. I've actually been to Texas, nice place, but nonetheless, she was in Texas and she went and she's like, I have tinnitus, it's killing me, I need help. And the doctor goes, as he goes, like, there's nothing we can do, have to learn to live with it, but there is one thing we might be able to do. And I kid you not, I wasn't there, but this is what I was told. He leaves the room and she's just sitting there like, okay, he's just like getting the medication, or like maybe he's getting like a brochure or something, or I don't know. He's doing something, he's a doctor, he's a professional. And this motherfucker comes back with all the nurses, and they start praying over her, like in a big circle, like she's sitting there praying over her. She said she was horrified. She was religious, but she was horrified. Like, dear Jesus, this damaged soul is fucked for life. Please carry her. No, not in those words, but effectively. Like, I would have preferred the audiogram. I think her tinnitus is gone now. It's fine, but it's a war zone out there. It's an absolute knife fight. It's a joke. So don't let your ENT, if an ENT says it's permanent, just go, okay, well, whatever. I thought just give me a referral to get an X-ray or whatever. But you can get the audiogram if you want. But the only thing an audiogram can actually do, if you don't have any tinnitus, an audiogram can map out hearing loss if you have no tinnitus. It works. But if you do have tinnitus, it can't map out hearing loss because the tinnitus is impacting. It's not an appropriate diagnostic tool to determine hearing loss because the tinnitus is interfering. It's common fucking sense. And I'm frustrated that I didn't realize it all way back then. But when you're in that state of fear, you really, it's hard to think. So I'm here to help you, do some thinking for you, which is fine. Take that load off your back, so to speak. Anyway, just sharing a couple of stories with you, and whatever you're going through, many people have gone through it, and their tinnitus is now completely gone. Okay, so their tinnitus is totally gone now, and it's possible to fix tinnitus. Okay, so got to go do my client call. I'll put this on YouTube. I'll speak soon.